All right, folks, this is Gary Wise. I am sitting at my computer way out here in Toronto. You would think that puts me really far from the action, but fortunately, Skype delivers, because tonight I am happy to bring you a man who is about to have a fun night. Mike Matusow is one of the world's best-known gamblers. He's one of the world's best-known poker players. A few hours after this interview, he'll be going to Pure for the draw party for the National Heads-Up Poker Championship, where he and 63 of the world's best-known poker players will do battle for some national TV time. I'm not going to waste any more breath on the intro. Mike, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, thanks for being here, Gary. How you been doing?
I've been doing good. I'm almost as tired as you're sounding. You're sounding pretty wiped out. Why are you so exhausted?
Well, I mean, I just got back 48 hours ago from LA. Played big high-stakes cash games there every day for 2 weeks. Pretty much had like 2 days off. I was putting in like 16-hour days. Pretty profitable, and I don't really play that much poker anymore. But last year I played for 3 weeks straight. This year I played 2 weeks straight, and found a way to book a win in every session for 2 straight years. So that's not bad.
Very nice. Give me some names. Who are you playing with down there?
Pretty much playing with all the big. We were playing 600, 1200 mixed, pretty much with Chan was playing, John Hennigan, David Oppenheim, all the East Coast boys, Congo, Mac Lance. Let's see who else was playing. There was just a lot of good games, a lot of tough games. But when we play mixed games, I like my chances.
You said you scored a win. Was it enough money that it was worth the exhaustion that you're going through right now?
Yeah. I did good there, and I came from. Exhaustion has a lot to do with the fact that I went to. In January, I went to Australia, and I played there for the Aussie Open. I also played the $1 Million Cash game out there. Had some success out there. And then I went from Australia to back home. 2 days later, I left for Lithuania and had to go to Lithuania for 2 days. So basically, I traveled the world in about 4 days, and then went to LA for 2 weeks to play. So that has a lot to do with the exhaustion.
It builds up. I'm a guy who went through a period of my life where my work had me traveling a lot also, and I found myself realizing that being at home was the vacation. It sounds fantastic to be able to go to Australia and Lithuania, but after a certain amount of time, it's just, you just want your couch and your television, your bed. Yeah,
and then I get home, what happens is I put on a lot of weight again, but a lot of it has to do with travel, and then I get home and I just never want to leave my bed. I mean, I just lay in bed and just leave me alone. The phones ring. I just never get out of bed. The other day I slept for like 17 hours straight, and it just takes a lot out of you.
Yeah. Well, before you fall unconscious, before you go...
I'm awake. I'm actually awake. My lady who cuts my hair, she wanted me to come in earlier, but she's actually going to meet me at 6 o'clock tonight just to do me a favor, so I can be ready for doing the draw tonight. So, I'm squeezing everything in.
Well, and that's a good segue, because I want to talk about the draw tonight, because, I think that for most people out there, the idea of going to Pure and being shown the VIP treatment and, being amongst the stars and being treated like royalty, that would be a very big deal and a lot of fun. Is this still fun for you, though? Is this just a thing you got to do?
Actually, the NBC head-up draw is a lot of fun. Because, you get the 64 people that are in the tournament, but you also get another probably 150 of who's who of poker that get invited to the draw.
Okay.
So it's not like it's 64 players plus a few cameramen or whatever. You have they've expanded it to where it's like the 64 invites and then about another 100 people that are who's who of poker that want to party and drink and have fun all night. So it becomes more of a get-together, and it's a lot of fun. And I enjoy the NBC Head Up. I've been reading a lot of. I'm not a 2+2 forum guy, and I don't read all the bullshit on the internet. Never have, never will.
Mike, I write some of the bullshit on the internet, man.
Okay, well, that's your fault. But I don't really care about it. I don't really care what's going on. And I hear this, the NBC Head Up, the people who get invited shouldn't be invited, and this shouldn't be invited, and this person should be invited, and this person shouldn't be invited, and it bothers me a lot, because the people who are invited should be invited, and half the internet geniuses that are invited shouldn't be invited. So I don't care how successful they've been, because it's a TV show, and nobody seems to understand that the TV show is a TV show for fun, it's a TV show for ratings, and it ain't about watching a bunch of boring poker players sit around a poker player.
Well, yeah, but wait a minute. Isn't it kind of, I think people treat the National Heads Up as poker's all-star game. They really look at it and say, this is the one where you really want the invite and all that. And isn't there, I think that at least some people would argue that there's a responsibility for the all-star game to show the world the future of poker as well as the present and the past, right?
I don't know. I disagree. I mean, if you do that, then the people that are on the tour that play every single tournament and that play every single event and that play every high roller, because Poker Stars is putting them in every single one of them, or Full Tilt's putting them in every single one of them, or whatever, they're going to be the ones that are going to be in the NBC Head Up. You understand? I mean, I've played, I played one WPT last year, and I played 0 high roller so far in my lifetime, so does that mean I should not be in it? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I understand. Okay, let's take another example. And I invoke this example with love in my heart for Phil Gordon.
Oh.
But Phil hasn't gone to big cash in the last 4 years.
He hasn't even played a tournament in the last 4 years.
Right. At what point does the statute of limitations end on his making the 2001 World Series final table?
Right. Well, I agree with you there. Listen, Phil's my friend. I have nothing negative to say about Phil.
Yeah, me neither.
But I've also said that straight out that he should relinquish his seat on Team Full Tilt and just accept the money he gets coming in every month, because he's really not on Team Full Tilt because he never plays. So I've also said that too. But I understand that. Todd Brunson's not in the NBC Head Up anymore, and he's upset about that. But there's people that are in NBC Head Up I've never even heard of, but I don't follow the tournament circuit, so I don't even. You understand what I'm trying to say? I never know what's going on in the tournament circuit. I don't really tune in anymore.
So it sounds like you're saying that the tournament circuit isn't really all that. It isn't the end-all, be-all of poker celebrity, and poker celebrity is more about PR and having hit the right moment than it is about success in tournaments right now.
To me, the tournament circuit is the license to steal by everybody. So that's my opinion. You have to remember that. To me, it's $700,000 a year to play the tournament circuit, and then it's a license for all these people that are running these tournaments to steal for $350,000 in juice every single tournament out of the 500 players that they get, and just keep stealing and stealing and stealing, and you have to finish second once a year to break even. So I'm not a big fan of the tournament circuit. I think that I am a big fan of Annie Duke and Jeffrey Pollock's new thing coming out. You got to be able to give back to the people. You can't just break everybody. So that's why I didn't play the tournament circuit last year, if you want to know. So.
No, that's fair. Yeah, and I think you and I could probably do an entire hour just talking about what you just said about the tournaments. I came into this interview with an agenda, though. I want to eventually get into the young prop bettors.
Right.
Just before we do that, let me ask you: give me one name that you want to hear your name drawn against tonight.
That I want to get my name drawn against?
Who do you want in the round of 64?
On round one?
Yeah.
Well, what if I told you I don't even know, like, half the people playing?
Well, then I would tell you to give me a name from the other half.
I don't care.
No, but is it like you want Hellmuth because then you'll definitely be a feature match? Like, is it that kind of a consideration?
I'll take Daniel in round 1 since I beat him every time we play.
Okay, fair enough. Last question about the heads up. The roster for the tournament was announced after the breaking of the Sorel Mizzi John Racener cheating scandal that made a big deal, and Sorel is in this tournament.
Right.
Do you think that he should have been invited? Well, first of all, should he have been invited before this thing happened because of the other scandals he's been involved in? And if yes, should he have been invited once this thing came down?
I think he should have, with the success he had on the tour last year. I think once this came down, and me personally having a long talk with John Racener, who I respect a lot as a person, and for what John told me happened, and I think that he should have been replaced.
He should have been
replaced.
Replaced.
Was a good friend of Sorel Mizzi, and you remember Sorel's been accused of cheating 3 or 4 times.
Right.
It's not like his first go round.
No, there was just to refresh our listeners, there was there was the purchasing of Chris Vaughn's account a couple of years ago. There was his post earlier, like in 2010, about the debt that he felt he had paid, despite the fact that he was creating new accounts, which is another rules violation. Like Sorel's got his list of things that he's done.
Well, like he beat Roland out of $2 million playing the same Chinese with jokers, and Roland refuses to believe that he cheated him. Well, I mean, Racer caught him dead-handed, putting the card on the bottom of the deck and grabbed the pile. So I mean, it wasn't like he wasn't caught red-handed. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but wait a minute. Did he actually he didn't catch his wrist? He thought he saw something and there was a joker there, right?
Yeah, he saw him actually he was able to now who knows whether Antonio taught him or somebody taught him, because I say that because Antonio's his best friend, and Antonio can make any card go to any part of the deck if he wants to, because he's a magician. But how to put a certain card in a certain part of a deck. But he caught him putting the joker in the pile he wanted to put it in, and he would grab the pile every time. And so when Racener wanted to grab the pile, he wouldn't let him grab the pile. Anyways, he got caught. He apologized. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't tell nobody. And then John offered him to donate a certain percentage of his tournament winnings to charity, and he wouldn't make his name all. He wouldn't ruin his name, and he turned it down. So John went public with it, pretty much.
Well, now John is kind of ducked away from the public spotlight now. I think that he's got some PR people who are telling him that, look, ultimately you're a guy whose public image isn't perfect either. You don't want to be associated with this right now.
Right.
Shut up about it.
Right.
Do you think that he has an obligation to keep talking to the community about his feelings, or do you think he's already said all there is that needs to be said?
I know that Sorel was a good friend of mine, and I liked him. And after knowing John the way I know John, and John, he had some problems with drinking, which he's fixed. And knowing John the way I know him, I really don't have any interest in being Sorel Mizzi's friend, if that's what you want to know. I don't think anybody else should be. I don't think, I met that JJ Prodigy over at the LAPC. And I'm not a big fan. Daniel's trying real hard to have him completely kicked out of all the poker. So, I don't read. I don't know what's going on. I just read. I hear these stories about these guys.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot more stories that I do know about that I would that people don't know about. So I don't. It's not the greatest world out there that everybody thinks it is.
Yeah, well, no, I think that anybody who's been around the poker world for a while knows that there are a lot of people doing a lot of desperate things to gain their edges, and it makes this whole story from Racer seem very plausible.
Well, no, it's true. There's no plausible about it. what John said is true. I mean, he got caught red-handed. I mean, period.
Well, do we know it's true, or do we know that Racener believes it? Because, in the end, it really does come down...
He grabbed his hand, and then Sorel admitted it and apologized. So that's what John told me.
But isn't really one guy's word against another?
Over $15,000, the guy just won $5.4 million.
No, was it only 15,000?
He was 15,000 loser.
But I heard that he was like 80,000 loser for the weekend and decided not to pay any of it.
Lied. He was 15,000 loser.
See, that's good to know. All right, well, that definitely changes the equation, because if people are talking 80,000, it changes the severity of the situation.
It would make it sound bigger.
So, so at this point, even before I get into talking about what to do about Sorel, you just mentioned, Daniel trying to get JJ Prodigy banned and all that. Is there any way for the poker world to come together and take care of these matters in a total way, or is it just an impossibility?
I mean,
really?
As long as you have these cheaters, as long as you have internet poker, you're always going to have cheaters. I mean, how many people are out there cheating that you don't know about?
Well, let's be honest. As long as you have live poker, you have cheaters too.
Exactly. I mean, I'm sitting there playing for 2 weeks straight. We keep getting new setups, and we keep getting new crinkles in every single card, and there's only 2 people that were sitting there squeezing their cards every single time, and it was just aggravating. And then I just was saying, why do you guys just keep changing the deck and worry about the little crinkle in the card? Don't you guys play on the internet every day? That's my favorite line. That's my favorite line I like to make. I mean, it's just, but the internet companies, they try their hardest to crack down,
But I'm saying, is it only the company's responsibility, or should the players be doing something more, or should there be a governing body that kind of tracks all these guys who are doing this shit?
There should be a governing body, there should be, if it gets legal, there will be a governing body, but I mean, it's tough to basically see where who's cheating and who's doing what and who's doing this illegal and who's doing what illegal. I mean, I have conversations with people and they're like me and Nick Schulman were talking. We're saying, well, who hasn't played on someone else's account, or who hasn't done this once? And me and Nick go, I haven't, and Nick goes, I haven't. You know what I'm saying? So, so basically, everybody at the table, pretty much except for me and Nick, and there was 9 of us, all said at one time or another they've cheated online. You know what I'm trying to say? So that makes you wonder.
Well, when I hear that, part of me says there are different levels of cheating. And there's also a question of time. Those guys were playing someone else's account before everybody knew, oh my God, it's a terrible thing to do.
Right.
Then really, how much do you fault them?
Yeah, but I mean, just to give you an idea, I mean, a certain player who, I don't want to name a name, the other day says to me, I go, what have you been doing? I go, you've been playing. He goes, I've been playing online. I go, you've been playing online? I haven't seen you play online. I've been playing all week. And he says, oh, I've been playing under so-and-so's account. I go, dude, don't you know that's illegal? He goes, oh, not really. I'm like, yeah, it is, dude. I'm like, you're not allowed to play under so-and-so's account. And he's like, in the old days, it was not a big deal, but in this day, it's really illegal. And so, if he says that to me, how many other people are doing that? You
right.
Understand what I'm saying? And you really can't catch them. You understand what I'm saying? Where I have to play under Mike Matusow every single time, and that's why I never win. There's a reason why I win 35 out of 35 sessions live. I win every time I play high stakes cash, and yet on the internet I lose every time. And all these internet phenoms are everybody looked up to. Now why is everybody looking? Everybody looks up to all these internet phenoms and. Oh, he's an internet phenom, and he's an internet genius, and he's a this, But I win every day in cash.
Well, wait a second, though. Mike, isn't that partially... Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't that partially because, when you're playing live, you are an incredibly focused player. When you're playing online, they've got their heads-up displays and they've got their poker trackers, and you're looking at the internet and you're watching TV.
No, I'll agree. Speaking of poker tracker, I never even knew that motherfucker existed. That's something new to me.
Well, I highly recommend. Folks, we are not paid to endorse Poker Tracker on this show, but go download Poker Tracker. It's pretty awesome if you've never heard of it.
I just found out they know exactly when I bet. They know exactly what my tendencies are. They know, like, when I'm weak, when I'm strong, by the position I bet in, by the position I raise in. I just found this out like a week ago, by the way.
No, they can track everything. They study that stuff, Mike. They don't just keep it for posterity. They look at it and they study it.
Do you think that should be legal?
Yeah, because everybody has access to it. And you can't stop it. And I think that anything that everybody has access to should be legal.
No wonder why I beat everyone on their asses when we play live. Because they don't have a fucking clue what I'm betting.
So I'm glad that you're doing the Los Angeles trips. That's basically what I'm saying.
They don't know when I bet or I raise if I have it or not, because they don't have a little static in front of me that says, well, 38% he has this and 42% he has this. What a joke.
All right, so let me move on for a minute to another scandal that's come up recently. It's not really a scandal, but it's a controversy. You heard about this big 70-mile run bet that Ashton Griffin won for $300,000 against Hasid Qureshi?
And I heard a lot of people were upset about it because Ashton could have died.
Yeah, he certainly hurt himself. Basically, Qureshi bet that Ashton would hurt himself.
Well, I bet $2 million that Ted was going to die.
Yep.
And die.
But let's talk about this for a second. You and Ted are friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you care about Ted's well-being?
I didn't want the bet. That was the thing. There was a difference.
But at what point, though, is it your obligation as a friend to say, look, I don't care how good the odds are, I don't want to see you get hurt, let's not make this bet?
I told him that the second we did the bet when we were drinking, he was paying $500,000 to buy out of the bet. So, he was kind of a dick about it, but...
Am I allowed to ask what the status of that is? Are you still paying the $5,000 a month?
Fuck him, yeah, I'll pay him whenever.
When you hear about two kids like this doing this, like these guys are 21 years old, like 21, 22 years old. Is this something that they are? Do you see them as being out of control and having a real problem? Is that the kind of thing that you'll learn with age, or are you still out of control and have a problem?
I'm done making side bets.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Just because the odds are too long, or because the stress, or?
I just have no interest in it no more. I never won a side bet.
No,
I just did make $25,000 side bet with Todd Hennigan.
So you're not done at all.
Well, it's really not really a side bet. We both have to weigh, because we both gained a lot of weight. We're like 240. We both have to get under 200 by the end of the year sometime.
All right.
So it's not really that much of a side bet.
25,000. I'm trying to figure out if 25,000 is enough to be incentive for you to do it.
I don't know either.
What do you think? You think you're gonna make it?
Oh yeah. I'm eating 2 slices of pizza right now.
Nice. Double pepperoni?
No, there's no pepperoni.
Oh, good, Mike. So back to this Qureshi Griffin thing. It's one thing that they made the bet that was dangerous for Griffin's health. It's another thing that Qureshi went online and published all the details of the thing, betrayed the fact that Griffin has some serious, emotional problems. Very serious emotional problems. Yeah, what do you think? Did he violate a code by doing that?
I don't know. I mean, he shouldn't be talking about his personal problems. Did he get paid?
I assume he did. I wasn't there to witness the transaction.
Yeah. I don't know, man. These people are crazy with their profits.
Well, okay, seriously, he wrote this long thing, and he made himself look like a hero when he wrote it. And I had some problems with the way he wrote it. It was still a hell of a story that he told, though. But my real problem is, it's one thing to betray a bet. If both parties are happy to talk about a bet, then that's cool. if one party says, I don't want to talk about it, and Griffin did tell Qureshi, I don't want it being publicized,
right,
then at that point, shouldn't Qureshi shut the hell up?
Yeah.
Like, it seems like Qureshi really violated a prop bettor's code. You know, there's obviously not a handbook. But it sure seems like he did something he was not supposed to do and that went outside the agreed bet, the agreed wager.
Right.
You know, like, with that in mind, would you ever make a bet with a guy who had done that?
Probably not. I mean, I think I don't want it public, I don't want it public. Like, even my test bet, Ted goes, you want to make it public? I'm like, I don't care. Because it was going to be good, it would be good, what's it called, for both of us.
Publicity?
Yeah. So I really didn't care. I did care about the fact that I didn't really want the bet because I told him I told him what it was going to be because I wasn't going to change my life for him. So, you know.
Mike, never bet when you're drinking.
Well, it don't make a difference. The bet will, as long as I let the terms be down that I wasn't changing my lifestyle for him and I was never ever going to give him some lump sum of money. You know, that he, well, at the end of it, but the closer he got to it, he started calling full tilt, calling people, hey, you want to pay my debt on this bed? And then it was funny, just laughed in his face, you know. And then he started calling me when he made up, I think it was to you or somebody at ESPN, I think it was to you.
Yeah, I think it was me.
Yeah, saying that wasn't the agreement of the bet and that I made that up. And when I had 5 people over right there that you know, that knows exactly what I told them, that I wasn't changing my lifestyle, and that he'll get a minimum of $5,000 a month, and I'm doing real good.
Well, let me ask you, how has this affected your friendship with Ted? Like, are you guys still as close as you were?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in 6 months. He's been in Thailand. So I haven't given him any money in 6 months. I haven't seen him in 6 months.
Well, he doesn't need your money. He's in Thailand. Everything's cheap there.
I mean, I guess he'll be back for NBC HU tomorrow, tonight.
Yeah. There you go. You'll see. You'll have to give me a follow-up call. Let me know how how the conversation goes.
I'll be like, you want the money, dude? And he'll probably be like, he's the weirdest motherfucker ever. He'll probably say, yeah, man, can you send me like $20,000, man? Pretty good. I've been in Thailand, man.
That's your Ted Forrest impersonation?
I have no idea.
Ted says a lot, huh?
He's like, God, he's so weird. I love that. But he's definitely top 3 weirdest guys in poker.
All right, I now want Mike Matusow versus Ted Forrest in the first round of the National Heads Up.
That'd be fun.
There you go. Weight loss bet during the round. Ted has to lose 5 pounds during the match.
They come to the wheel fight, running back and forth to the bathroom 20 times.
All right, so looking at the bigger picture of these two situations, we've got 4 guys. None of them is older than 25 years old. They all have more money than God.
Well, or do they?
Sorry?
Or do they?
Well, or maybe not. They sure act like they have more money than God.
Mm-hmm. They all act like they have more money than God, but half of them are broke.
Do you worry about... Well, okay, let me ask you this. Do you worry about the way this reflects on the poker world when people outside of poker hear it? Because you know what? When people read the Griffin story, they immediately posted all over their Facebook and said, hey, non-poker people, tell me what you think about this. And, you know, people are reading it, and they're thinking, this is indicative of the poker lifestyle. You got one guy trying to kill another guy, the other guy trying to take the one guy's entire bankroll.
It's not indicative of the poker lifestyle, it's the truth of the poker lifestyle. Read my book.
Well, I have read your book.
Exactly. Everybody wants to glorify poker in some superstardom lifestyle, and all it is that, well, don't let me get started.
All right.
I mean, you know me, I call it like it is.
No, yeah. That's why I called you for this interview. You
glorify poker to a superstar lifestyle when there's less than 1% of the poker population making money, and the rest of them are all dead broke, and all the people that run all the tournaments are cleaning house, and all the internet companies are cleaning house, and everybody else are storing the poorhouse with mom and dad's money and college money and not knowing what to do. So there's the truth about poker.
It's an ugly truth, but it really reflects really badly on this industry, and I have to think fuels, the people who say don't legalize, don't, don't regulate.
It does feel that, but if it was poker, if it was regulated, things would be a lot different too. There wouldn't be all these companies running a 5,000 million tournaments to try and make money. There would be regulators that said you can only run maybe a certain amount of tournaments per year. See, me personally, I think there should be 4 major tournaments per year, and that's it. And that, I mean, just that, and I don't think there should be. I mean, do you realize how many major tournaments are being run per month around the world?
Oh, it's a lot, I know.
And 10,000 a pop.
Yeah.
I mean, and now they're adding 25, 50,000 high rollers, 100,000. These 100,000 high rollers, like 250,000 high rollers. These are just a joke. I mean, these are just comical, what they are. Well, what are they saying? They're saying, "Hi, I got this much money. I got to come beat." And what are they trying to say? I don't get it. I don't get the reasoning for it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think the reason is pretty obvious. It gives people a chance to get their gamble on, and it gives the proprietors a chance to make some money.
Right. I mean, just like look who's playing the 25,000 high rollers that have 30 people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're not sponsored, you're not playing in it. So it's really I don't know.
So let me ask you this. I don't want to get too far off the prop betting issues. How many friends are there in the poker industry that you would have said absolutely not to on the Ted Forrest bet? People who you just didn't want them to see them hurt themselves, and no matter how much they wanted to.
I didn't want to make a Ted Forrest bet in the first place.
No, but in the end, he convinced you to. Are there people that you care enough about in the poker world?
He wouldn't let me out on the bet unless I paid him $500,000.
Right. But are there people that you care enough about in the poker world that you would never, ever, ever have said yes to that bet to? Who you would have thought, no, you could really hurt yourself. I don't want to see that happen to you. You're my friend. I'm not going to make that wager no matter what.
Well, yeah, I said it to Ted. I mean, I said it to everybody. I mean, I wouldn't do it to everybody. You really want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to die.
So Mike, if you think he's going to die, why are you making the bet with him?
He wouldn't let me out of the bet.
But you had to get in the bet in the first place.
We were drinking. And then we made the bet, and I said, no, I don't want the bet. And then he's like, oh, you have to have the bet. So when he said you have to have the bet, I'm like, all right, well, I have nothing to worry about. He's going to die anyway, so what do you want me to do?
So it sounds then like you're saying that in poker friendships, there are no limitations. Money always comes first, and the friendships have to understand that when they're approaching, when the people in a friendship are approaching.
I would never make a bet with somebody if I think they're going to die. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I tried to get out of it, and then I just said, well, when he came to my house the day of the bet was supposed to be done, I mean, there was no doubt in my mind he needed to go to the hospital. I thought he was going to die right then and there, so. Whatever. He probably took 10 years off his life.
I guess what I'm asking is, when Qureshi accepted the bet, and he knew that the only hope he had was that Griffin was going to hurt himself, and he was counting on that, did he basically, obviously he chose money over friendship. Is there any point in which...
But I heard they weren't very good friends.
They lived together.
Yeah, but somebody told me 2 days ago that they didn't like each other very much.
Oh.
I was talking about that. I said I heard they were really good friends, and then the guy said, "Oh, they're not really good friends. The Ashton actually can't stand it."
Oh.
I didn't know nothing about this bet, and I started hearing more and more about this recently last week. So you remember, I don't follow 2+2. I don't follow Pocket Five.
Right.
I don't follow what's going on with all the bullshit in the poker world, because all it is 90% BS. So you don't follow it, you don't know what's really going on. The only thing I know what's going on is I've won about 35 straight. sessions playing live, and I've won about 8 straight playing high stakes poker, and I care about Mike Matusow. So it's tough for me to know who's. And I know Carlos is going for his 4th title tonight.
Yeah. Because he's a sicko.
He's the man.
Yeah. Okay. That all said, I gotta get an answer to this question because I've asked it like 3 times now.
All right.
Do poker players, or should poker players, approach one another with the understanding that their friendship will never ever transcend money?
Meaning?
Well, meaning, you know, if your best friend in poker is standing on a cliff and all you have to do to grab a $5 billion pot is to let him drop, do you let him drop?
No, I know.
Okay.
I'm different than most poker players who let him drop. They don't care. I got a heart. I'm hard. Most people are heartless. They don't give a shit. It's all about money.
But isn't that? Do you think there was a time where you were heartless like that, though?
Alice, you think all the cheating's going on, and all these people are doing what they can to make money.
Well, but okay, let's talk tax for a second. You've got yourself a decent bankroll, Mike. Obviously, fame has done a decent job for you.
Right.
You know, in terms of making money. Was there a time when you were broke? And I read about those times in your book. You know, was there a time where you might have grabbed that $5 bill?
No.
All right. Do you think that but you think most poker players would?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that's my opinion.
No, it's a fair opinion. It's kind of a sad statement about the industry.
When I play live, I see what they do for an extra $100 bill. I see the shots they take. I see angle shooting. I see things that are just absolutely despicable for $100. I see when they're taking a $17 rake at Commerce, how they try and get out of paying the rake that's on new, when they've already been there for a half hour. They argue over $17. They argue about paying the collection for $100. We're playing for $10,000 a hand. You know, I see it. Everybody's an angle shooter. They'll try and save a quarter. You know, so, yeah, do I think they would drop their friends for that? Yeah, I think so.
Do you think that the new generation is definitely going to be the same as a whole as the old generation in that regard? Or even worse?
I think it's way worse. Yeah, I think it's way worse.
Sounds like it's pretty amazing that we haven't seen more of this stuff up until the last month.
I'm surprised that so much has been hidden from the poker population that hasn't really come out that is there. You know what I'm saying?
No, I've been around this game long enough that I do know what you're saying. I don't know everything that you're saying, but
it's pretty obvious. I mean, there's so much obvious stuff. I mean, it's just, you know, I don't know. To be a superstar, you just glorify yourself as a DJ, and everybody thinks you're the greatest. So. Somebody give me $10 million. I could jump online and just go dump off, and then I'll be everybody's hero tomorrow.
There you go.
I mean, that's what they're glorifying. They're glorifying degenerates instead of glorifying real poker players. And it's pretty sick. Well,
isn't that that's kind of the sales pitch, right? You know, it's the whole full tilt thing is these guys are professionals, but you can come online and beat them. So,
yeah.
All right. I don't want to get you in trouble with the full tilt people, so I won't pursue that too far. But you know,
I mean, it's the same sales pitch with the poker stars. You know, I don't know. It's just I just wish people would glorify poker for what it is. You know, poker, great poker. This is the definition of a great poker player. One who sits in an 800 ring game with 3 idiots. When the 3 idiots get up, the one who's the great poker player gets up, goes to his room, goes to sleep for the night. The guy comes down, the game is good, he plays, he's playing well, the game gets bad, he leaves. He manages his bankroll, he plays with bad players, and that's what makes a great poker player. A great poker player does not challenge the next great poker player to head up to 60-40 flips for $250,000 for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours to glorify him as a phenom. That's not what makes a great poker player.
So what do you call those guys?
Complete DJs. That's it.
And that's the generation that we're looking at now.
We're looking at DJs and the internet poker phenom of the internet poker generation, where you could click 100 different games at a time, has turned everybody into DJs and not to what poker really is. Like that.
Mike, this has been fascinating as always. We're getting close to an hour, and I want to let you go because you got your hair thing going on, and you got a long night ahead of you.
And you got to admit what I just said, Gary.
Oh no, Mike, you don't hear me denying it.
Right.
You know, like I think the fact that a kid ran 70 miles, you know, with over $1 million on the line, you know, could have killed himself, could have hurt himself badly, and that the guy who he bet against wrote a long report basically holding himself up as Poker Jesus and his opponent as the emotionally disturbed Poker Devil. You know, I think it's questionable conduct. I think that's the most political way I can possibly say it.
You know, I wish I read some of that. I really wish I could.
You know, it's a hell of a read. You know, I give Qureshi this: the kid can write. For a 23-year-old poker degen, the kid is a writer. You know, it is a worthwhile story to read. Just folks, when you read it with.
The only thing I know about Hashim Qureshi is I used to see him sitting in the head-up games at Full Tilt. I've never met him. I don't know who the hell he is.
Well,
so,
Mike, I highly recommend you go read it. Just, you know, remember it's coming from his point of view.
Right. But see, I know a lot about Ashton. Me and Ashton are good friends. And but saying those things about Ashton is, you know, really out of line because, you know, his close friends know how he is and how emotional he gets. And, you know.
Exactly. You know, when Ashton posts on the internet, I'm having emotional trouble, help me,
right.
Then it's time for someone to talk about it.
Right. I mean, do you want to end up having like that one girl who killed herself? What was that?
Randy Hawbaker.
Right, because everybody was making fun of her, and she couldn't deal with it, so she killed herself. You know, I mean, that's what you think that can't happen with guys too. I mean, they're very emotional, unstable, and not saying anything about Ashton, but I know for sure Ashton is very emotionally unstable. He's come to me. He's come to Matt Glantz for help to help him out. He's not the type of person that is very good with society and very good with people in the world. And a lot of these young kids that are geeks, that are social misfits, are tough to fit into the real world and struggle to fit. And by ripping on them, all it does is cause them a lot of pain and could cause them to do something that somebody might regret.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
There's no way that girl shouldn't be alive today. But the problem was that everybody made fun of her until it was too late.
Wow. Look, obviously you don't want to speak disrespectfully about the dead. I will say that Brandy kind of helped her fame rise while Ashton didn't do any of that.
Right. I understand that, but she needed help. I mean, she definitely needed help. She needed somebody to just make sure she went to a psychiatrist and took her meds, you know?
Right.
And I'm not trying to compare the two. I'm just trying to say that if you push the wrong button, you know, you never know what could happen. You gotta be careful about, you know, what you're doing.
So there you go. You know, if everybody was like Mike Matusow, we'd have a warmer, gentler poker world.
You really would, you know. You just gotta. I just can't believe the glorification of poker of a great poker player nowadays. You know, I think it's funny. You know how many times I've been told in the last 2 years that I can't play poker anymore and I'm a joke. You know, all I do is play on all the high stakes shows and win every single time I play live. But because I don't play 4 tables head up with Durr or Jungle Man or Ivy, then I'm just not a great poker player.
Yeah, but see, isn't that perfect though? Isn't that the perfect thing for you? Like, let's go back to what you said about what a real poker player is.
Right.
You know, you got the world thinking you suck and you beat them every time.
Exactly.
That's the perfect poker player.
Exactly.
There you go, Mike. I hold you up as perfection.
Thanks, buddy.
That seems like a good note to close up the interview on. Mike, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it, buddy. I know that you're going through some busy times, and
busy. And let me throw a plug in for Deep Stacks Live, www.deepstacks.com. We have a Deep Stacks poker tour, 15 events, 15 live poker events with me and Michael O'Brien and Mizrahi, which if you go to our website
at www.deepstacks.com, and you can see when our next camp is and when our next poker tour is.
Very nice. What else are you doing these days? Like, what else can you plug for me?
Just basically my whole life's really wrapped around the Deep Stacks poker tour and Deep Stacks 360. We have the 360 camera, which they had at the World Series this year, in which we charge like $100 for the camp on the camera, and the camera gives you full access to what we're teaching. We also have, I have my book, Check Raising the Devil. Get it at Barnes & Noble or Amazon.com. I'm up to almost 50,000 copies sold.
Very nice.
So if you haven't gotten a copy yet, it's really a great read. And I got a lot of major stuff coming up here, first of the year. Working on hopefully getting a movie deal for my book. Hopefully reality show, hopefully, and I have a video game that's coming out that's definitely, it's already out actually, but it's going to be part of the Pro Series. It's going to be big for me too. So, but right now, the thing that I really, for people out there that I really want to learn how to play poker and really want to really get a good idea into the world of tournament and cash game poker, visit www.deepstacks.com and check it out.
You know what I took first and foremost from Check Raising the Devil?
What's that?
I am glad I never tried meth.
No shit.
And folks, if that's not the best sales line you've ever heard,
absolutely.
If that doesn't make you want to know what the hell I'm talking about in this book, then you are dead on the inside.
Absolutely. Yeah, meth is death, and that is the greatest sales pitch of the book.
Are you on Twitter, Mike?
I am on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at the Mouth Matusow. And I'm also running my new show, Mike the Mouth Live, on my brother's show at Make Poker Legal, and it's going to be on. We're going to be moving it here in the next month over to www.deepstacks.com. So I'll be running the show from deepstacks.com, which used to be the Mouthpiece. It'll be Mike the Mouth Live. So.
All right, Mike. When this thing goes live, I'm gonna get in touch with you. We're gonna have you tweet it out to all your followers so they can hear you tell some truth.
You got it, buddy.
All right, folks. My list of things to sell, not nearly as long, which is a sad story. But keep checking out these interviews on PokerStag.com. Check out my columns on ESPN.com. I've been working my ass off on a blog at jgarywise.com, and I think that people will find something there that they like. So I hope everyone will go and check it out. This has been the Gary Wise Interviews with Mike Matusow. Mike, thanks for joining us, buddy.
You got it, buddy. Take care.
Yeah, have a good time tonight.
Later.
Cheers. Take care, folks.
All right.